All right, all right, all right. Here we go, man. Let me plug the joint right quick. Why 99% of men should never date a coworker. Why 99% of men should never date a coworker. Now, we all know that office romance goes on all the time. We know this, right? We know this. Unfortunately, you have a lot of office romances that blow up in people's faces. And a lot of that has to do with guys not knowing how to manage the situation. Again, a lot of that has to do with you guys not knowing how to manage the situation. Now, I'm not saying that women aren't guilty of being messy, but as the man, you're the one who should be managing a situation to ensure that you don't get caught up at your place of employment, that you don't get your ass fired, right? Why 99% of men should never date a coworker. Now, in just a moment, I'm going to share with you guys some text messages between this young lady and this young man who appear to work together. Now, real quick, let me throw this up there, and let me throw right there. So on my Patreon, I shared these same messages, but I did a video titled Why You Should Never Rely on Choosing Signals. So these particular messages that I'm going to share with you, I was literally able to do two separate videos, including this one, with two completely different titles. Why you should never rely on choosing signals, and why 99% of men should never date a coworker. Now, when I show you or I share with you these text messages, you're going to see how relying on choosing signals is an issue for a lot of guys because you don't know what you're doing. And I'm going to show you how, when you're interacting with a woman, right, how things can be misconstrued, how you can misread the situation, how you can take what's going on out of context. So again, if you want to see the video where I talked about why you should never rely on choosing signals, the commentary I provided on that joint is different from what I'm going to talk about. Now, they're going to bleed into each other when it comes to some of the points I'm going to make. All right, hold on real quick, y'all. Let me get back to what I want to do. Okay, let me move that out the way. So again, go to Patreon, check that out. But let's get back to the task at hand, which is this particular video drop. Why 99% of men should never date a coworker. Dating a coworker is a recipe for disaster for 99% of men. And I'll tell you the top reasons why you should steer clear. Again, a lot of you guys don't know what you're doing. I'm going to share, before I share these text messages with you, I'm going to share a quick story. So I had a client. I haven't spoke to him in months, right? He used to be a supporter on my Patreon. He's no longer a Patreon supporter. I don't know why. I mean, it could be because he lost his fucking job. I mean, that could be why he withdrew his pledge, because he lost his fucking job. Doing exactly what I'm telling you guys not to fucking do. So I don't know if he still watches my content, but if he does, he already know what I'm about to talk about. And I'm going to share it with you guys. Now, this particular individual, nobody knows who you are, right? So your identity is kept close to vest. You're good. So this particular individual, he went out of town for a job function, right? So the company he worked for, they had multiple offices, right, in various locations throughout, the country and various states. So at this particular function that he went to, right, that he traveled for, he ran into a young lady who lived in an entirely different city and state than he did. But of course, he worked for the same company. So they had an outing, a dinner outing. So while at the dinner outing, he asked this young lady to take a walk with him. So while they're walking, he starts to make his move. He starts to put his bid in. Shout out to the homie Steve Dean, right? He starts to shoot his shot. And she is telling him in the midst of him attempting to hit on her, she's like, this happens all the time. Guys are always trying to get at me at work, and I have a boyfriend. So, and I'm telling them, I said, bro, when she said that, this happens all the time, guys trying to get at me at work, that was your clue to leave it alone. Then when she said, I have a man, she basically doubled down on the fact that she wasn't interested in what you were trying to do. So when him and I are talking, he's purposely leaving out various details, right? So he goes on to tell me that the young lady reported him to HR and that he pretty much felt like it's a wrap. They're about to fire me. And I'm like, she reported you to HR because you hit on her and you stopped? He said, well, I didn't stop. And I said, nah, please tell me you didn't continue to try and push the issue about fucking her. He said, yep. And then what happened was he kept trying to basically convince her to fuck him. And again, they went to dinner, so it was at night. So I guess they had walked away from the restaurant or the venue. So she started to get a little concerned because he was being pushy. And she said, I don't feel comfortable. I think I'm going to go ahead and head back. And he initially concealed that he basically kept going, right? Which, gentlemen, that's harassment. Guys, harassment is when you make multiple attempts romantically and or sexually towards a woman. Okay, if you come at a woman one time and you try and invite her out and she shoots you down and you let it go and you never pursue it again, that's not harassment. Harassment is when you keep going. Also, harassment is when you attempt to demean or belittle the woman because she don't want to fuck with you. When I share these messages with you, that's exactly what you're about to witness. Dating a coworker is a recipe for disaster for 99% of men, and I'll tell you the top reasons why you should steer clear. Now, I've dealt with coworkers, but I never had no issues. I never got in no trouble. I never had any issues because I know what the fuck I'm doing. I know how to lead and manage the situation so it doesn't get out of hand, right? Why 99% of men should never date a coworker. So without no further ado, let me go ahead and bring this up. All right, so here we go. So he's in the gray, she's in the blue, right? So apparently they have each other's contact information. Let me just say this right quick. Just because you have a female coworker's contact information doesn't mean it was given to you for the purpose of you trying to fuck her. You have to understand the context of everything, right? How did you come upon your coworker's contact information, right? A lot of times when you work in an office or in corporate America and various different types of companies and businesses, it's customary for coworkers to have each other's contact information. So if you just have it and every other guy and every other woman has this woman's phone number, I would highly suggest that you refrain from utilizing that phone number if you didn't get her explicit consent to utilize it for the purposes of trying to fuck her, right? Guys, be mindful of what the fuck is going on. So it's paramount in these situations. Now, let's go. So he just did, what I'm showing you is literally the first message, right? The top of it has the guy's name and it has, and all that other information. So I cut all that out. This is literally how he got at her. Come over. Number one, when you're trying to get at a woman you haven't previously had any dealings with sexually, this is not the way you begin the conversation. So already he's showing you he doesn't know how to effectively communicate in a smooth, seductive fashion. He ain't got no mouthpiece, right? And because he ain't got no mouthpiece, he don't know how to talk to women face to face. It is manifesting itself in these messages. So he says, come over. Not to be lame, but Netflix and chill. She replied, I have a boyfriend. That's where he should have stopped. But nah, he didn't want to stop. He wanted to keep going. Why 99% of men should never date a coworker. So he goes on to say, why were you being so nice then? See, when you have these goofy YouTubers who tell you guys, stop approaching women, wait for choosing signals, this is what you get. When guys are reliant upon, quote unquote, choosing signals, they think a woman being nice to them equates to choosing signals. So he already came into a situation where he thought the woman was interested, but she wasn't. What he should have realized was, you know what? My bad. I misread the situation. Let me leave it alone. That's not what he did. Why were you being so nice then? Is it a crime to be a decent person? He goes on to say, no, but it's a crime to lead someone on, shaking my head. So already he's starting to feel agitated and irritated towards the woman because he misread the situation. Now he's feeling some type of way. Oh, it gets better though. So she says, how? Okay, hold on, let me move this. Move it up. Let's move it up. Let's move it up. So then he goes on to say, you always laugh at my jokes. Guys, what else do goofy YouTubers tell you? Hey man, if you're funny, it can make a woman laugh. That's a form of attraction. That means she kind of likes you. You know, you got a foot in the door if she laughs. Really now? Really now? Guys, here's a news flash for you. If a woman is sexually attracted to you and you're funny and you can make her laugh, that's going to increase the attraction. But if a woman does not view you sexually, your ability to make her laugh is not going to make her pussy wet. I'm sorry, guys. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you get the truth here. You get the truth here. If you don't get it nowhere else, you're going to get it here. Right? So then she says, me, a decent human. Then he goes stupid mode. Right? Are you fucking? So do you want to fuck? So you don't want to fuck? So you don't want to fuck? So he just goes, see, he started out being indirect, which is what the average guy with no game does. And then when he got frustrated and flustered, he just came out and said it. So you don't want to fuck? Right? And a lot of you guys are sexually frustrated. See, YouTube and other social media platforms is littered with sexually frustrated guys. And instead of you learning some game and learning how to conduct yourself around women and learning how to speak to women, you just want to go about it on your own. And this is what you get when you ain't got no game and you don't seek the help that you need, right? So then she goes on to say, what part of you makes you think that I would? Then he says, are you fucking serious right now, right? Then she says, dead. Then he goes on to say, you're a girl. You were nice to me all day and sat with me at lunch. Okay, this is why I think they're coworkers, because of that reason. I mean, they could go to school together. I don't know, right? But it could be that they're coworkers and they were on a lunch break. Guys, I've been, at lunch, on lunch break at various companies I work for, and women that I was cool with came and sat with me and we chopped it up. And not once did I think a woman wanted to fuck because she laughed at my jokes or because she sat and ate her lunch at the same table I was sitting at. Come on, man. You got to be serious. Then he goes on to say, you said you like my taste in music. You see what I'm saying? Do y'all see what I mean when guys are always looking for commonalities, shared interests, and similarities? Just because you got shit in common or because a woman likes your taste in music or she likes the same TV shows you like, that is not a precursor to sex. That doesn't equate to sexual attraction. Then he goes on to say, do I really need to go on? So he's assuming that because a woman laughed at his jokes, because she sat and ate her lunch at the same table his goofy ass was sitting at, and because she likes his taste in music, he really thinks that's sexual attraction. Why do you guys think I say a lot of guys have a remedial understanding of attraction? If this ain't the epitome of that, I don't know what the fuck is. So then she goes on to say, yes, because none of what you said inherently means I want to fuck you. Now, let's pay attention to the operative word, inherently, right? So what she's really saying is, yeah, in some cases, these things can mean that a woman likes you, but these things alone do not inherently mean I want to fuck you. So guys, when guys are telling you only fuck with women who are giving you choosing signals, a lot of you guys don't know what the fuck a choosing signal is. A lot of you guys can't tell the difference between a woman just being cool versus a woman who actually wants to sample your penis. A lot of guys can't tell. Guys who have no game, you can't tell, right? Because when women are giving you choosing signals, quote unquote, some choosing signals are very subtle. Other choosing signals are very overt and very obvious. See, he's thinking that she's obviously interested in me. No, guys. No. Right? Then he does this. Wow, okay, bye, fucking bitch. Now he calling her out her name. Not once was she rude to him. Was she disrespectful? She didn't say anything that was crazy. Now, when they go back to work, guess what's going to happen? He's probably going to be sitting in HR. Let me get rid of that. He's probably going to be sitting in HR. Okay, let me tell y'all something. Okay, if you don't know this, even if you do something off the clock, away from work, if you harass one of your female coworkers outside of work, you can still be reprimanded at work. I don't know if you guys know that or not. If you harass one of your female coworkers outside of work, you can still be reprimanded on the job. If she goes to HR and shows these messages to HR, he's in trouble. He's in trouble. And if women work in HR, if women that are going to be reviewing the claim, I'm saying, or if there are going to be women that see this, automatically they're going to have a vendetta against him. They're going to get him up out of there. Because women aren't going to have you doing that. Women aren't going to have you coming at a fellow female coworker like this and calling her a bitch because you can't fuck. It ain't, guys, why 99% of men should never date a coworker. Let me just add this before I get up out of here. Even if some of you guys end up going out on a date with a coworker. What are you going to do when she just all of a sudden stops showing interest? Are you going to act funny with her? Are you? Are you going to mistreat her at work? Are you? Right? What if you go out on a date with her and then the very next day at work, she goes to lunch with another guy? What are you going to do? The average guy can't handle that. Because a lot of you guys, even if the woman wanted to fuck you, a lot of you guys don't have the mental aptitude, the testicular fortitude to just keep it about sex. And you're automatically going to become possessive and territorial when she's laughing at another guy's joke, when she's taking breaks and eating lunch with another guy. A lot of you guys are going to act funny and question, who is that? Okay, you just went out with me the other night and now you're going out with him? Damn, you must be the office hoe. A lot of you guys are going to talk to a woman like that, or at least act like you got an issue with what she's doing. This is why I say why 99% of men should never date a coworker. Because just flat out, a lot of guys, you're not cut out to deal with the type of environment where you're around a woman every day and she might tell you she don't want you. And even if you guys deal with each other to some degree, she might decide to just stop fucking with you. How you gonna handle that? Or you might catch wind that she's fucking somebody else. How you gonna handle that? How you gonna handle that when she stops talking to you and she starts another budding office romance with another guy who can fuck her better than you? And because he can fuck her better than you, she stops fucking with you and she's fucking with him exclusively. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know how a lot of guys can't handle the new guy. The new guy at the job fucking the chick that they want to fuck. And then those guys start acting funny. And they start going up to the woman talking shit about me. Because they mad because I'm dicking her down and they can't. Why 99% of men should never date a coworker. Leave women at work alone. Go to the job, make your dough, clock the fuck out, go home, and stay employed.